Happy Friday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead, a live episode of You've Got to Be Sha Tinning Me. I am joined, as always, by Mr. Matt Carlson. Matt, I cannot believe it. There were actually 4 degenerates waiting for us to start.
One of them was probably me, like waiting in the chat. But yeah, at least 3 other people are up to watch this, so that's good.
Yeah, I was. It's always tough with these early Friday cards because, like,
Early.
the thing,
Yeah, early.
what I mean.
Earlier
Like,
than normal.
it's not
I get
Saturday,
it.
right?
Nothing's early about this, but
No, because like clearly, like we want to get this out so it's useful for people, right? Because I mean, sometimes I'll go back and I'll listen through, like podcasts of like stuff that like has already happened. But I mean, if you want to wager on this stuff, right? You want to actually have actionable, actionable stuff here. So, this happens about once a month, and so I figure we'll try to do this at least a couple times a year, just so we do this. And yeah, it's just always fun to look at this stuff live, to play some races. And I mean, it's an excuse for you to hide in your basement and drink some beers. So. I mean,
I think my wife has been asleep for 4 hours at this point.
For
Maybe
4
3.
hours.
It's a teacher. She had a long week. I had a stomach bug. She was dealing with the kids, all that. So
Yeah.
that's no qualms from me. Go ahead, pass up.
Yeah. No, it's rough out there, man. Like people are getting sick left and right, and like
it's nasty.
We had an in-person meeting this week or today actually for my job, and we had. For my team, I think we had 3 out of like 8 or 9 people out, just out sick. So I mean, one was like an actual like injury thing and not actual illness, and all other stuff. But yeah, it's going around. But I don't know about you, but it's 70 degrees here today, which is just nonsense.
It's been nice. I think it hit the 60s today. I think it's gonna hit like high 60s over the weekend. I think it's gonna be 70 out here like all next week. So yeah, it's hopefully winter's gone, but I think I know better. But
yeah, well,
first spring is here.
No, so. Is it first spring, or is like spring of deception or something like that? I forget.
Think that happened. Like I think that was the last one technically, right? Like there was a couple days where it hit like 50 something, and that was whatever. I don't know. It's the Northeast. It'll snow in April, so it's fine.
Yeah. But you guys didn't come here to hear us talk about the weather. Instead, you came here to watch us drink beer. I have a nice X Hero, which is a local juicy IPA. And it comes in a 19.2 ounce can, so I figured I needed a big can of beer for this hour plus stream that we're planning on doing here. Matt, you got something local over there? I don't know.
Yeah, local IPA. It's a Galaxy IPA. I figured I'd go with the Australasia or whatever it's called, hops. So Australia, that hemisphere of it. So it's thematic, right?
You're a big fan of Galaxy Patch, so
there you go. Exactly. I just need some Racoutra or whatever running, and anyway.
Yeah,
we'll get into the hop.
Yeah. But. So no, actually, I gotta delete this. Whoop. I posted in the Discord that we're streaming, but I forget. I'm not supposed to post that in there. Anyways, yeah, so we got a 10 race card here. We got 53 minutes before we got this first race. So I figure we should probably start getting through some of these races, start handicapping some of these things, and just kind of see where we're landing. Nick Sievers is in the chat saying, let's go. I mean, Nick will bet on anything. So, I mean, of course he's here. So
him and the pornography bots were very happy with my performance last week, at least. So.
Hey, there we go.
It's good. Hopefully we can continue that. But
yeah, so I don't know. You want to just go top to bottom here? We'll start with race 1 and just kind of get through the entire card, or you want to attack the pick 3s first? How do you kind of want to look at this?
Yeah, I mean we can start and go. I mean, I know probably we'll talk a little bit more about race 1 as we get close to it and we're actually watching it, but yeah, I mean, I can give opinions on anything and everything.
Let's see. Do we got the tote? Yeah, it looks like the tote's updating at least on Twinspire. So cool. I can see at least what we got some live odds here. Keith asking what the temperature in Michigan is right now.
Who, who knows?
And are you drinking
I
the
finally got
Unibrow?
there. I got
Are you
no,
drinking the
not
Unibrow?
I have
No.
not. I haven't had a Unibrew in a while. I should buy that, but that it has a soft spot in my heart because I cut my teeth on. It was one
La
of those
Fin du
beers like,
Monde.
yeah, like one of those first like beers you had like when you turned 21. There was a very nice package store by us that had, I mean, craft beer before craft beer was a thing, right? This was like what 20-ish years ago, 18 years ago, was actually
Mm,
carrying things like that, and you kind of didn't have perspective as to like what it was. But yeah, being able to buy stuff like that locally was nice, and so
yep.
yeah, that's why it has a soft spot for me. And so I need to buy
Yeah.
that. Next time I
Yeah.
see it, I will pick it up. But
My soft spot beer is actually it's a Goose Island beer called Matilda. I,
I,
I mean, that was just like, I don't know, man. There's just something about that beer. Like, it's just a little tart, little funky, and I don't know. That was like one of my like favorite beers to drink.
I have a similar
Um,
one for Goose Island Lolita, which I think is like their
yep,
cherry like sour, like which they clearly have not made in a number of years. But yeah, if I ever found that again, that was
yep.
fantastic. But
Russ Neese, he's live from the South Point Race Book. He actually sent me a picture of him sitting at a crapless craps bubble craps machine. So shout out to Russ there. And Nick saying if we're actually gonna make it to race one before falling asleep. I will because my sleep schedule is still messed up from Las Vegas. So it usually takes me a solid week to get back. And usually on the weekends I'm up till 1, 2 in the morning. So, I don't have kids. I don't have the same responsibilities as Matt over here.
I
So,
just go full insomniac mode for this now. It's bad.
yeah,
Like I don't sleep during these cards. It sucks.
there you
But
go. Well, anyways, I just pulled up the tote real quick just to see where we're kind of at in race one. It looks like favoritisms with the 3, the concentration here at 5-2. So that's kind of your favorite here, coming off that win last time out. But we have a full field of 12 here. And this is Class 5 racing. And I just, I don't know. I hate taking a short price in these types of fields, and I handicapped all this before even kind of like looking at the kind of looking at the tote or anything like that. But uh, I kind of landed on 2 horses here, maybe just a little bit different. I landed on 2 prices. I got the 7 and the 8 in this race. I got the 7 as my top pick here, Winning Heart. 10-1 currently. Apparently, it was 5-2 by whoever made some random ass morning line, but it's currently sitting at 10-1. And yeah, I just kind of thought that this was maybe a horse that, um, is just going to find, I think, maybe a bit of an easier kind of field here. On top of the fact that I kind of looked at this race and I don't really see any leaders in here. I think Speed Pro kind of disagreed with me on this. Because when I looked at it, I think they said that this was going to be a good. They do have a good to slow pace. Okay, um, but yeah, I was just kind of trying to see where the pace was going to come from. They think the pace is going to come from the 8. Um, I think there's a good shot that maybe the 7 is going to show some speed and going to sit a nice trip here. Um, and I think with just maybe a little bit of a slower pace, the fact that this is a horse that's kind of dropping down in weight, right? So it's going to be 4 pounds lighter than it was last time it ran here at Happy Valley or at Sha Tin rather. And we got the rails out today, right? We were at the C+3 configuration here for the 1200-meter race. So I just upgrade speed a little bit, and that's also kind of why I landed on the 8. The 8 though, I just don't think is as good of a horse. I mean, I think it's just like absolutely cheap speed. And even if you kind of look back, I mean, it was really only that last race where this horse showed that speed. Where I think at least the 7's kind of been forwardly placed in these races here. Whereas like when you look at these other races where you might see some 1s, those are horses that are coming out of 1400, 1600-meter races, and it's just different speed when you're going from 1600 to 1200. So I'm going to be having the pace play here. I like the price. I mean, I think 10-1 is ridiculous on the 7 Winning Heart. I was going to be happy at like 6 or 7 to 1. You know, it's like a middle price like that. So really like the 7 there. I have the 8 as kind of a B. There's not really any type of multi-race stuff here, so my guess is I'll probably just have a win bet on the 7. But you know, we'll keep watching the tote board and see what happens. But Matt, where did you kind of go?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm surprised the three's favorite. I guess I see it off the layoff, and I do like Jimmy Orman, right? I mean, I think he's been a really serviceable, if not, kind of above that jock since he's come here. I don't know if people saw, but he just got extended through the end of the year. Like I think he's hit the board around like 20 something percent since he started here. So for someone just coming into Hong Kong, like he's earned his spot already. So he keeps getting good mounts, but I don't know. I mean, you get what 2.8 on that, so 3.8. So you get about what 3 to 1 on that horse. That's for a horse that's been kind of floundering in Class 5 for a long time, picking up weight off of a win. I don't know. I'm surprised that horse is favored. I'm like you. I tried to find where the speed was in this race. There's not a ton. I think I kind of tilted my head sideways and looked at trials for this to try and figure out where speed would come, and I ended up on the 4 a little bit. Like Urban Triumph, if you look at the trials, I think the last two, since it's had a break, and it's had a couple breaks, right? It had, a bit of an off-season layoff, ran twice in September, took off till November, was off until January. Willing to excuse that last January run because it was kind of breaking from the 13 post, but it showed better speed in those trials, and I do think was moving forward at least a little bit from that. And so I think the price is right to kind of guess now that it gets a better draw to say, hey, maybe this horse moves forward, right? Maybe Urban Triumph can show some speed. It came out of a strong race last time. Again, kind of tossed that race wide, second up. Maybe it shows something different. I don't know. I do think you get the right price at 9 to 1 here, where I'd be willing to take a shot. That said, I kind of want to use that as a B because I think the horse that is probably the class of this field is the 5 World Hero, dropping down from Class 4. If you watch the replay last out on that Happy Valley race, it's just one of those rides where even though it broke from the 8 post, which doesn't seem too far out, it just never slots in, and it's not really Luke Ferraris' fault. He just kind of tries to send. He looks over, he never finds a spot, stays 3 wide, never finds a spot, has to go 4 wide, never finds a spot, and then swings 7 wide into the lane. And even then, the horse is still closing in on what ended up being a wire-to-wire race in Class 5. So, you don't know if that's going to translate over to Sha Tin, right? I mean, that's a Happy Valley form, and again, who knows? But at least it indicates to me that that horse has a fair bit of ability, and so I think if it does carry that over to Sha Tin, that's the horse that I'd want to go with. I'm surprised this horse isn't favored, honestly, dropping down. So I do think that there's a fair bit of value there, right? Like you're getting, almost 5 to 1 on this horse right now, or 9 to 2. Last I checked the tote, I'd kind of have a significant win bet off of that. So 5 will be my main play. I'll probably win bet that. Maybe I'll play a double like with the 4 and 5 into the horses that I like next race because I do think that next race is, kind of another Class 5 race that doesn't have a lot of options in it. But yeah, those are the kind of the 2 horses that I drew to in here. Yeah, I don't know. It's not a strong field, and I wouldn't want to take a favorite kind of in here because of that.
Yeah, and that's with about almost $6 million in the pool, which is a pretty significant amount. So, yeah, well, I mean, I guess we'll see where the late money kind of goes. I said it looks like Keith was saying that HK Ultra's got Winning Heart at 10 to 1 fair, 9 to 1 off, and that's kind of like where it's sitting right now. And Nick asking some questions there about it. Says it's much better than the official line. So yeah, I don't know who makes the official line, but or whatever line ends up on here, but like I basically ignore it.
The morning lines are notoriously awful.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
just
know
ignore it. Like I
where
don't
they
even
come
look
from,
at
but
it.
like you'll see, yeah. I mean, I think I was on some horse sales listed at like 52 to 1, but it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Just they are more than worthless here. For everyone that complains about domestic morning lines, like Hong Kong morning lines are bad, like really bad.
Yeah. All right, race 2. We got another Class 5 race here. We're gonna be going the 1 turn mile here, 1,600 meters. And I think I landed on a chalk in this race, in the 6. Many Thanks Forever. Actually, I haven't looked yet, but I would think that this is not the chalk.
He's second choice. Yeah, he's chalking the place line, but
I mean, I think that this horse is, I mean, far and away the best horse in this race. I I think you throw a line through that last race because it's a horse that got drawn out in the 12 post. You look at I know there were 1,400 races, but you look at those two races beforehand where the horse has got a reasonable draw and is able to sit, just off the pace where he wants to. Um, my guess with what happened last race is that he either got held up or he probably had to work very, very hard to kind of get to his position that he wanted to be at. Because I mean, look at that. Look at this horse's closing fractions, right? You see 24 and 24.12, 24.7, those two Happy Valley races, which, like I said, you can't really compare across tracks, but all right, as a baseline. But then you look down at this 1,600 and you have a 25 seconds flat, right? Which, like, I don't think any horse at Sha Tin is winning, even in Class 5, if you got a closing fraction in 25.17. So something obviously happened, because you look at those 1,400 races and obviously finished first and second, was inside drawn, had just a better trip. And I just think this is a horse that's going to get a much cleaner trip here, being drawn in the 3 post. And I think if this horse runs back to either those the 2 back or 3 back, I mean, yeah, I honestly, I thought this was going to be like a 5-2, 3-1 horse, and I was still going to send it, because I just think that this is head and shoulders the best horse in this race. But I know you hate chalk, so I'm sure you're against it, and you have some like random horse that I'm going to have to squint very hard and maybe go get my contacts on to look at.
I don't hate chalk as much as I hate Edzeni at a mile. He is 2 for 44 over the past year at 1,600, and I just am using that as an excuse to not use this one. Right? I agree with you. As horse on paper makes sense. I just think he's probably going to be overbet for the way that Edzeni rides at 1,600.
Did you watch our stream last night?
I didn't.
Did you?
No.
Okay, because there were 2 times where Mark and I are like, okay, this horse is 0 for 23. He can't win at Turfway, and I think both times the 0 for 23 horse won. So I'm just saying. But I'm just saying. You're saying, hey, this is not happening. I'm saying it's due. Right.
Horses can't read statistics, and horses don't have the same tendencies that certain jockeys do, right? Yeah. And I can go on a very long rant about how jockeys have specialties here, and they're very good at certain things and they're really awful at other things. I think if you want to unlock a great secret to betting Hong Kong, just run stats as to like jockeys at certain like distances at certain tracks, and you will see that you can toss a lot of horses just based on the fact that jockeys end up like 0 for 80 at like certain distances, and like no matter how good that horse is, like maybe they'll win occasionally, but I mean, it's eye-opening how certain jockeys are really, really good at certain things and really, really bad at others.
I mean, when Zach's aboard, I mean, you basically just bet against him on the all-weather.
Well, no, I mean, that's not even the case, because he's still 10%, right? And like, but I mean, like,
but the thing is he's not bet like he's 10%.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can get overlays and things like that, but certain jockeys like Zach and like J-Mac are like probably all-stars, right? Like they can ride serviceable horses, and they probably are still getting the best mounts on those anyway. So like regardless of how bad Zach is on dirt, like he's still going to get the best dirt horse running regardless, because he's Zach, right? So, again, it's hard to full toss jockeys like that. But like, you saw last week, there were 2 dirt races and Brittany Wong won both of them, right? Like she is a stellar standout on dirt, and whether that's because the bug is a stellar standout on dirt, who knows, right? But, like we'll talk next race, like, Matthew Chadwick is favored because I think he's probably one of the best 1,000-meter jockeys here, right? He's the only one who understands the assignment of get your ass over to that outside rail, and everybody else is drifting to the center of the course, right? Like,
you already know who I'm betting the next race.
Yeah,
you already know who I'm betting on the next race.
Probably, yeah. You're betting Brittany Wong, who's gonna drift out to the middle of the fucking course and not understand what she needs to do. So good luck. But anyway, because of that, there's 2 other horses that I want to. I think I did end up on the chalk. I did end up on the 5 Soaring Bronco reluctantly. I think he's a deserving favorite. If any horse deserves to be favored in here, because it's a really weak race. He's run competitive races up in Class 4 at 1,600. I do like the cutback. I do like that he gets a good draw here, right? Like, there's factors that I think make sense, right? I don't know. It's hard to bet a favorite who's over 15, but I do get it, right? So I think, reluctantly, I probably won't place any like sizable win bet on this horse, but if I'm playing a double in from like race 1 or trying to connect something into race 3 that I like, I'd use it, right? I think he can win. The other horse that kind of caught my eye, I think, was the value play in 11, Chateau Lepeche. I mean, the layoff concerns me as I don't think there's a vet record, and the trials since then have looked pretty average. So this horse is going to stand out. But, the best races that this horse has run have been at these one-turn Sha Tin configurations, right? Like, he's kind of been all over the place otherwise, right? Like those Happy Valley races going 2 turns don't really stand out. He's run a lot of 1,800, I don't know. So regardless, I think you can squint and basically, like, to me at least, say, hey, maybe this is what this horse wants to do. I don't know if this horse really wants to do anything, but at least you have a layoff, which, as you know, I do like here, right? I think freshening horses at Hong Kong is a better play than like domestic racing, right? If you see a break, to me, that's a positive thing here. And so, again, not that that's that great a break, but we'll see, right? Just scratching the surface on this, it's like maybe. So, you're getting odds of 16-1 right now in a field that is not that strong. And if he's run competitive races at a similar distance and he's getting 5 pounds since then, to me, that's at least like an each way play. So I'll kind of be putting money through Chateau Lepeche and then reluctantly Soaring Bronco, who I don't think is any value and is probably overbet bit. So
yeah, Keith's saying the HK Ultra's looking at 10 off 8 fair for Chateau Lepeche. So
yeah,
seems like it's off a bit right now.
Yeah, that horse is. I mean, and again, like, I never know what late movement's going to do, but Keith is much better at predicting the tote than I am here. I'm just kind of saying, hey, I agree with his value of around 8-1 being fair odds. And right now I see 17, and I'm like, okay, that's a significant gap. But again, kind of knowing that might come down, just given the fact that anytime you see an odds board where your favorite is hovering around 4-1, that kind of means no one has any idea, and someone is going to get hammered. Someone somewhere with money is going to have an opinion, and that's going to get kind of blasted. So.
Who the heck is this Luke guy? This Luke guy likes the 6-2. Get out of here, Luke. Damn Twin Spires. Race 3 here. The Chinese Hibiscus Handicap. We're going to be going 1,000 meters here. And finally, you get some Class 4 racing, all right? You can stop complaining about the Class 5 racing here. I'll let you go first here, since you already know where I'm going. Where do you land?
So I kind of buried the lead a little bit with this of saying I think Matthew Chadwick is like a very, underappreciated 1,000-meter jock, right? And I bet these races not on any sort of ability. I bet these races on, is the horse going to get to the outside rail and take that highway, all the way home, right? It's a little bit better that, I think they have like a quote unquote false rail up, so it's not fully to the outside, but like every horse that's won a 1,000-meter race over the past like 3 months has literally been in that quote unquote like stand rail path. And so all I look for is like, who's going to get over there, right? And that's both from like a horse draw perspective, as well as like, do you have a jockey that can figure out to get his ass over to that rail? So if you look, like, Matthew Chadwick is the only jockey that consistently does that. No matter where his horse is, he will try and slot that horse over to that rail. And I think that's why this horse is getting bet right now, is because, this was the race that the first time starter Justifying won by like 6 lengths last time. Just kind of got on that rail and ran its ass off and like dusted the entire field. But people are betting Super Strong Kid because he finished second in that race, when Matthew Chadwick, took a horse from the center of the course, like with, I think, probably 200 meters to go, like ran a diagonal over to the stand side rail and, kind of nipped up for second by a nose, people are going to be like, wow, that horse ran sideways and was able to navigate over a path. Look at it flying home. To me, I'm kind of seeing the opposite of, yeah, Matthew Chadwick's just smart enough to get that over and kind of see it, and it, benefited from the bias and kind of, got its nose down. Great. So I think that horse is way over bet. Maybe it has a ton of ability, and again, maybe Matthew Chadwick is smart enough to navigate it over to the rail earlier, and it's going to win anyway. I don't know, but I really don't want that horse at whatever it's at. Like, I think it's just over even money. I think it's like 8-5 right now. So
6-5, yeah.
Yeah. There's no way. Especially in a 1,000-meter race. Like, I would never bet a 6-5 almost on anything in here. So the other two horses that I think can slot over are the 8 Super Goldie and the 4 Summit Cheers. I think Summit Cheers was actually well drawn last out in kind of a similar race, but if you look at it, yeah, it was a shared race, and so like, you see that, you're like, okay, it was drawn really well. It was in the 11 post. If you read the comments, it says it was positioned on the stand side. All very true. But Alexi Bedell was riding, and he kept it in the 2 path like the whole way. Like, he had a chance to get over to that path and just never did. And I'm hoping that the switch to Brent Abdullah changes that a bit. Like, Brent Abdullah, he's 1 for 21 at 1,000 meters, but he has 5 places in there, so he's hitting the board a significant amount at least. I'm hoping he figures out how to slot it over, because I do think if that horse just moved over a path, he'd be the one, kind of running into place, line behind Justifying, rather than this 9 horse. And you're getting a lot better money because of that, right? You're talking about a nose. And to me, if you have a nose for a horse that was, is now 12-1 versus 6-5, I'm going to take the 12-1, right? So, there's one play, and then the other play on the 8 is, again, just based on the fact that this horse is literally drawn on the outside rail. And Derek Long has hit the board 8 out of 19 starts at 1,000 meters. So I think he understands the assignment well enough to do that. It looks like you're probably betting it basically on the same way, right? There's no other handicap angle here other than the fact that this horse is positioned where I think it needs to be to run the best possible race. And as long as that horse, gets on that rail and just runs that way, there's nothing else I'm going to handicap in kind of that straight 1,000 meters. So
yeah, I mean, I also like. I think this is a horse that's kind of gotten snake bit a little bit on the draw lottery the last couple times, right?
Yeah, true.
Kind of comes down in class, right? And is carrying a ton of weight still. And I mean, runs fine, runs mid pack, right? Runs 8th there, and then loses 4 pounds, and then just gets stuck out in the 13 post again, and then comes right back, gets stuck out in the 13 post again, and then gets the 14 post. But hey, it just happens to be where you want to be this time, So I just kind of thought that this is a horse that has some ability, right? I mean, has 2 wins at Sha Tin in 15 starts, right? So this isn't like a horse that's never won. And honestly, like, right, you kind of look through. You kind of look through the class, right? This is a horse that at this class has got 2 wins and a third, right, in 8 starts. So I just think that he's back in the right class. He's got a good draw, and I think that you're just going to see improvement off of that. So, yeah, I like Super Goldie here. I thought maybe I would get a little bit better of a price on the 1 Cheval Valiant here. Has kind of been sitting at those mid prices. But last time Brittany got aboard, this horse got bet like a sure thing. Got bet down to 7-2. So maybe people are seeing the same thing. Like, hey, Brittany's going to be aboard. She's going to hustle this horse, and hopefully she gets to the outside rail. But I mean, that's what I would use. Honestly, here, I actually kind of don't hate maybe playing a Quinella with the 1 and the 8 in the spot. Maybe include one of your others. Like, what we can maybe take a look at what odds look like. But because I could see a case where one or the other wins and the other one kind of just like finishes up second here. And I think you're getting a decent enough price on the 8 at 13-1 currently. I kind of thought that would be a horse that gets lost on the board a little bit. But obviously I think people are kind of seeing the same thing we are, because This is a horse that's been going off at 21 to 1, 31 to 1, 49 to 1. But there's some smart people. There's smart money out there, right? They know the draw. They know all that, and we just wish that the jockeys knew all that as well sometimes. But Keith saying the model loves super strong kid, but the odds don't pass his QA.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
again, I do think like I'm gonna use it in a pick three, just in case I connect something over. But again, like if you're hitting all three straight favorites, it's a tough sled, right? Like it's not gonna pay what you think, and I think that's one of those horses like I'm willing to lose on a little bit, um, or try to structure a ticket based on the fact that like I don't want to connect three favorites in a pick three. Right? You've seen some of those pick threes pay $12, right? It's kind of not what I'm going for. So
hey, I had a pick six today that paid $11 or paid like $1.60 or
that
something.
was a place six, all right, for 10 cents.
Oh man.
If we could play the pick six here, I would do it, right? I would be
Oh
broke, but
yeah,
I would do it. But I don't
dude,
know
I'd
when
be
that's
firing
happening.
at the triple trio. What are you talking about, dude? We'd
Yeah, oh
be
yeah, all
firing.
those bets, jockey challenge, everything. I mean,
Yeah.
we need that here. So,
Yeah.
well,
I was talking to one of our friends over at AM Wager, and he said that they were trying their best to get that stuff, but we'll see if that ever happens. But I know that they said that it was in the works, but it was just like one of those things where I don't know if uh, our tote can like interface it, but it's weird because you can bet it in Canada.
yeah, that's
So you would think that it wouldn't be that hard. So I don't know. I might reach out to my contact over at AM Wager again, see if there's anything going on with that. Um, Speaking of triple trio, the first leg of the triple trio here, race 4, the Azalea handicap, and we got another nice full field of 12 horses. Man, this 12 horses is kind of a break for me because I've been handicapping Cheltenham, and you're getting what 25 horses in those races. So yeah, this has been kind of a bit of a walk of a park here, but yeah, you know I don't know. I didn't really like this race, to be honest with you. Um, I mean, I kind of think the 2 should probably just win this race, and I mean, I don't really have like I don't really have much like greater insight than that. That I think this is going to be a real short favorite. I mean, what do we have it at right now? They have 3 to 5. Um, I mean, I'm not betting this race. I'll be playing the pick 3 through this. I'm gonna single the 2. Um, I mean the other horse that I looked at was the 3, but my guess is that's gonna be your probably like your second. Oh no, the 6 is your second choice at 4 to 1. Um, I thought maybe the 3 is a little interesting, as maybe it was just one that needed to start to kind of get going here, but um, the 2 ran a great race and now has basically got a perfect draw here. Hugh Bowman stays aboard. Was a you know bet like a sure thing first time out. Is again bet like a sure thing, like even surer thing now. So I don't know. I'm interested to see where you kind of went here.
yeah. I mean, the 2 won for fun last out. He probably just wins this. I don't know. Hugh Bowman's been riding like ass for the past couple weeks. I kind of want to get around it, but I don't know that you can. Um, I did like Happy Park. I thought Happy Park in here was potentially value just based on the fact that he kind of had a run of a couple pretty bad draws, drawn out in 11, also with dead weight Ed Zenny aboard. So like I said, I do like Jimmy Orman. I do like the fact that he's drawn a little bit further inside now. I think this horse was progressing a little bit before he hit that bad run of draws. So to me, maybe this horse can be sneaky on the board. And that's why I think I'm using it as an A. If like I'm a ticket that I posted, that's kind of where my eyes drew to. But I do think, I wouldn't be surprised. People are betting this too. Like it's a sure thing. I mean, it's below even money at the moment. So typically when you see horses slam that hard, they're pretty live. I had a couple other Bs in here as well, like in Circuit Duffy, just on the fact that the horse has never run at Sha Tin before, and I think some of the trials look pretty good. Um, again, I think this horse was one of those that was progressing straight up, like first through kind of 4 or 5 races. They had Zach on the first three. So I think this horse has some ability. So we'll see. But TBD on Circuit Duffy, and then I think I also used the 9 Lucky Symphony. Great to say that I don't like it Zenny, and then I just bet it's Zenny. But again, kind of second off the layoff. I thought that first race was pretty good, pretty promising. Obviously, it hit the board. I finished second to a horse, and kind of rallied on. So who knows? Maybe this horse can show something that it hadn't before. Given kind of that long layoff between starts. So I mean, I don't know. That's probably way too wide to be using a favorite like I am. I think I need to figure out structure. But yeah, I mean, I think those are kind of the horses that I think have a chance to win this. And to Nick's comment, yeah, Zach broke his big toe, so it is not yet healed, but he's been trying to come back. I think he's hopping on a horse next week, but his toe is still fractured, so can't be riding.
Oh, and Keith saying Hong Kong has been great without him. Yeah, I mean, he hates saying
it's been
that,
more
right?
competitive.
But it's been more
sure.
competitive, yeah. Yeah, I'll probably play 2 pick 3s. I'm gonna obviously have the 2 pressed, but I'm gonna probably toss the 3. Maybe I'll toss your 4 in as well. I think maybe we make a little money if we get around this too. So little game theory there. And then race 5 here, we got the 1800 meters, class 4 racing. And this was a tough race for me. So I'll let you go first. Where did you land here?
Yeah, I kind of ended up on 2 spots. I ended up on the 2 Volcanic Spark. Again, I thought a lot of those 1800 races were good. I liked the race last out, right? I mean, I know he closed in pretty well, but I mean, again, anytime you can see a horse kind of closing from way deep on that, like it indicates, hey, at least this horse has some ability. Doesn't really move up in weight too much from that. Has never missed a board, going 1800. So, to me, I mean, again, I think it's one of those horses you just have to use because it probably has the most talent in here. The other place I ended up was on the 14 Casa Papa. He's kind of hit some resistance moving up into class 4, but I do think has some excuses. Kind of every time that horse has hit class 4, he's either had bad trips or running to slow paces or things like that. So I think, to me at least, had enough kind of excuses built up where at the price it's like, okay, maybe this horse will make sense, right? Again, anytime you kind of see Purton getting up on a horse for anything, it indicates, okay, they have some ability, right? So I thought Casapapa, kind of again at a lightweight, getting a decent draw, although I don't think draw matters all that much at 1800. You have a fair bit of time to kind of shake out. But those are kind of my 2 A's in here. And then, I think I used the 3 Serangoon as well, just based on the fact that he hasn't really run at 1 turn all that much. And I thought, hey, maybe, right? I think he's had one turn 1800 race back like last June. It might not even be on your PPs. I think it was like 7 races back at this point. But, kind of broke from the 12 post, closed pretty heavy from the back into a very slow pace. So to me was like, okay, this horse has been running 2 turns consistently, for the past year plus or almost a year, right? Like that's all they've had this horse do. Maybe he wants 1 turn, right? And maybe this is the right race in the right spot. And so again, one of those where I'm, seeing you're getting 16 to 1 on this horse right now. Who knows what it goes off at, but double-digit odds at something that I think, okay, the one thing I can see is that this horse ran a strong race at the configuration. So willing to take a shot. But yeah, I think that's kind of where I'll end up on these then. So
Nice. I'm with you. So I have two Bs. I think Volcanic Spark and Gold Master are clearly the horses to beat in this race. But I have them as Bs because I think they might be up against it a little bit pace wise. I granted I know it's an 1800-meter race, but um, you know, like Volcanic Spark last time was coming from basically the back of the pack, right? So um and if you kind of look at the fractions, there was a fair bit of pace in that race, at least early. So I just don't know if he's going to get that same setup. Now, clear like Gold Masters closed into 1600 races that have been fairly moderate, so he might be a little bit better of a horse. And my guess is I think Gold Masters probably your favorite right now. No, Volcanic Spark is, but they're 1 and 1A, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I have them both on my pick three, right? I'm not going to get boomed by both of them. So I have them on my press tickets as well. And well, I have them on my mid press ticket with singling the two the leg before. I'm going to take a shot with the 8 good who looks to be lone speed in here. However, I I have a bad feeling that they're going to make him work for it because he's out in the 13 post. And I mean, you've seen it, right? They are more than happy to float these horses as wide as humanly possible to make sure they have a hard time. Um, so I think Good's got races that absolutely fit here that could win here. And yeah, I just think he's got a pace advantage in here. So I'm going to use him. And then I'm going to use the 11 Youth Power. And I'm kind of like squinting a little bit to kind of get to this one because I'm I'm projecting looking at the 1650 races and just kind of trying to think how this is going to translate to 1800 meters at Sha Tin. I think this horse probably has enough early speed to get there and get early, and this is a horse that's drawn very, very well. So even if the 8 kind of has to really, really work for it, I mean, this is a horse that's losing 10 pounds because of Brittany Wong. So it's carrying 112. I'm not super, super into like, I mean, weight matters, but I think weight matters even more going longer, right? So this is a horse going 1800 meters and is going to be riding at 112 pounds and is probably going to be on the lead or close to it and probably on the rail. I don't know. I think that this is there's a lot of things going right for this horse, and I kind of projected this to be, probably like around 7 to 1, 6 to 1, 7 to 1 is probably what I thought you'd probably get on it. I think the horse was sitting around there like 8 or 9 to 1. So if I were to just win bet, it would be on Youth Power. I don't think that this is the best horse in this race by any means, but I think that the two best horses in this race are going to have they're just going to have a little bit tougher of a time. And I think the other pace in this race, in the 8, I think there's a chance that this horse kind of gets floated out pretty wide. You know, so like I just can't like in good conscience be like, yeah, like lone speed, like let's go for it, because I do think that the horse going from 1650 stretching out that's been close to the pace, I think has a shot at getting the lead here, especially with Brittany Wong aboard. So
Yeah. Brittany Wong's been riding a lot better.
since Zach's gone, no.
No, I mean just in general, right? Like if you saw when she first started riding here, horses like that, like I feel like my perception was like you said, hey, she'd be low on speed, but I feel like she'd force that, right? She would just
Yeah.
say, okay, mega send, right? Like just go as fast as you can, as far as you can, and get this horse out to the lead. And it's like that doesn't work, right? Like, eventually, especially at 1800, that horse is going to run out of steam. And I feel like she has at least learned that you can't do that. Maybe she's got yelled at enough to not do that.
Mm.
Except on dirt where it works, so she
Where
should
it works,
continue
yeah.
doing that. But like, you know, I don't know, right? I do feel like to your point, maybe all that does is it says, hey, her and the 8 are gonna duke it out, and it's gonna just default into some one of these deep closers. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't use, but I do think I kind of see it, right? I do see that horse was moving forward pretty steadily at one turn, and then they moved it out to Happy Valley once it moved up in class, and I'm not entirely sure why. So
Yeah. I see Nick asked earlier if does Circuit Duffy have no shot. Keith answered saying in the voice of Andy Beyer, no shot. But I don't know, man. Those 1,200 races at Happy Valley are just a different monster than Sha Tin. So I don't know. That might be a tough one. Likes him off the 1-8-25 race. What is he missing?
let me
You want
see.
to tell him what he's missing there?
I'll try to find it. Huh?
Yeah.
Try to find it in my figs.
And I'm just like taking a look here. We got 13 minutes here to the first race. We actually, this is actually, I think we spaced this out perfectly because I think we'll probably get through most of the races here before this first race, and then we can, between those two races, we probably finish up the late pick 3 and get your bets in, and then you can go pass out on the couch behind you or whatever. Or in
So circling back to Circuit Duffy, I used a horse. I mean, I used it as a B again, but I do think it's just one of those unknowns. I'm trying to remember why I did that. I think he's shown decent speed in trials at least, right? And so I do think there is a case to be made that maybe he could wire. Now I do think other horses in here have speed in race 4, so he might end up dueling with like Happy Park, but I mean, I think there's a shot, right? Like, I will say if you're circling back to the couple races that he ran well at Happy Valley, keep in mind he was drawn in the one post in those races, and the one post, especially at Happy Valley, is like catbird. Like you're going to win, a majority out there, right? That's where you want to be. So, if anything, right, like that's kind of the case against that horse is the fact that he's drawn ideally. Now he's drawn really well at, Sha Tin right now. He's drawn in the 3 post, but yeah, we'll see.
Oh, apparently there's a tornado in Chicago.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Good thing we were talking about good weather before. So.
Yeah, I know. As Sixer just pinged me. Oh man, I missed all this good beer and good slippers. Where the heck did I miss today here in Discord? One good thing about being up this late actually is I just realized that F1 qualifying is starting for the Australia. So yeah, I'll actually probably be able to catch qualifying tonight. Cool. Let's keep on going then here. Race 6, the hydrangea handicap. So apparently this is the flower card, because we had like hibiscus, we had hydrangeas, we had all this other stuff. So I wasn't super creative here. I took the high weights. I think the 2 Excel Wong Choi is primed to get another win here. He's just another one that I kind of feel like has been snake bitten by these draws, and I think he finally is getting a good draw. He keeps Karis Teat in the board, right? And yeah, I think that this is probably a good spot for him to pick up a win here. He is he's sitting at 6-1 currently. I mean, I think the 3 Good Luck Babe obviously makes a ton of sense here on paper. Draws the rail, has speed, has your favorite jockey aboard. So I think maybe it's a little interesting that Karis stays on the 2 instead of the 3, because when Zach's out, right, I think Karis is basically Karis and Hugh Bowman of the full-time guys, in my opinion, are kind of like the next up. So the fact that Karis kind of chooses the 2 here, maybe that's a little bit of a signal. But yeah, I thought the 2 and the 3, kind of made the most sense. And then, I mean, I just can't quit Brittany Wong. I mean, I wish I could. I'd probably save so much more money, but I'm gonna still use the 1 here. Fun Together. I think this is a horse that makes a bit of sense. You know, has shown some speed. Is kind of drawn badly, but I don't know, man. That 10 pounds sometimes I think that could be enough here. Um, and yeah, and like I said, I just think that she's a much more competent jock when she's on the speed horse, and she's just and that's just what she does well. It might be a little hard to work out a trip from the 10 post, so that's why I kind of have her as a B. But yeah, I just thought the high weights kind of looked pretty good here. Where did you kind of land, Matt?
Yeah, actually, I ended up on Excel Wong Choi like you. I thought those two efforts, kind of the last two races where he was obviously drawn, way outside, were impressive, right? I mean, I think that stood out. I was surprised he's, kind of not getting bet off that, but I do think he closed really well, kind of those past two races, right? Especially the two back effort, kind of into a slow pace, into, kind of a race that ended up going wire to wire. Again, I mean, I think just those are the kind of things that stand out to me. Like, okay, finally this horse is getting a decent draw. You know, how well could this horse run? So, Excel Wong Choi, I think I wanted to use. The other horse that, kind of interested me was just this angle play on the 10. I mean, one of the things that I look for is kind of that fourth start in Hong Kong, especially for horses that have kind of continued to move up in my rankings over and over again. Kind of has that uplining speed, right? You see figures kind of steadily increasing through three races. That fourth race, they tend to pop. So again, this is just one of those plays I think where it's like, okay, to me, maybe this horse shows something that it hasn't shown on paper yet, right? I think when you try and get into, just using things that you see, right, is when you get into trouble because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you're trying to compete against computers that can make better figures than me and estimate odds better than me and know this horse's speed better than me. And so you have to find things that aren't printed. And I think, this is one of those cases where maybe, right, it could just as well run, a flat race like it has kind of the first few and not hit the board and, ho hum, great. But at least in a race where it's not really connected to anything, it's not in either pick three. I think I'd be willing to take a shot on the 10 view all things. Just based on a decent draw, again, based on kind of that continuous improvement that I've seen a little bit through those first three races. So maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I like I said, I actually I was under the impression that the 2 was probably going to be. I don't know. I thought it was going to be like 5-2, 3-1. I thought he was going to be really short in here.
It might get bet
And
down. I mean,
yeah, he
it's
might get
it's
bet down
later.
late,
It's
right?
later
Yeah,
in the card, but right. I mean,
yeah,
you're sitting at like 6-1 right now.
yeah. So
That's
that's pretty interesting. I mean, like I said, it's tough. We'll see kind of where it goes. But in the meantime, we got 5 minutes to post here for race 1. Our boy Andrew Champagne likes a 3 here.
chalk eating weasel. I don't know.
I don't know what the hell that man's doing. Um, let's see. What are we looking at right now? All right, so let me pull up my old. Yeah, I like the 7 and the 8 here. I mean, I'm getting my price on both these horses. I'm getting 11-1 right now on Winning Heart, and I'm getting 22-1 on the 8. Um, I don't think. I'm trying to think. Is there a world where they can finish 1-2? I don't think there is. I think it's a one or the other situation. I wonder what Aquinella is paying with the 3.
3-7. You're looking at about
24,
25.
48? Yeah,
Yeah,
24 and 48.
yeah, and
So,
about double that to the 8. You're looking at about
but
just under 50,
do I really
40,
like the 3 that
48,
much?
47.
I mean, the 3 looks good. I just think that there's this, like, he might not get there just because of the pay scenario. But I don't know. Those seems like pretty decent odds. We'll take a shot. 3, 7, 8. We'll do a little $5, and then we'll run back to 3, 7 for $5, and then see, I hate this. Like, do I Dutch the win bets or do I just bet the 7?
I mean, at the price, you could probably argue that it's not a bad play, right? You're getting 10-1 on both.
All right. For sanity, I'm gonna play the 7-8 Quinella at least for a little bit. Yeah, it's $200. So let's at least play that for like $3.
Jenny likes my 4. That's full send.
Oh no.
She had a couple weeks where she was on absolute fire, and like it aligned with my picks like perfectly. I was like, oh my god, this is full send mode. But yeah,
Nick Seaver says he bought a Pappy 10-year today. He got it for 100, felt obligated. Dude, I would, like, here's the thing, right? Is like I would never spend more than probably like $200 right now seems to be kind of like my limit for like a bottle of whiskey. At least like my mentally, like I don't think I'd be able to go past that. But yeah, I mean, Pappy 10 at $99. I mean, Matt doesn't know anything about bourbon. He's probably buying it if he saw that.
I will say, on semi-related, off of your recommendation, I did just pick up a bottle of Green Spot, and which is a very not economical bottle, but I think I paid.
What's it cost now? $80, $70?
I got it for 59. So
beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, and it's great. I mean, I got it for the holiday, and I'm like, this is so smooth. I love this. It's fantastic. And then I got the stomach bug, so I blame you. But
yeah, I like it. I feel like I've had Redbreast 12 numerous times, and I don't like it. But I feel like I do like Green Spot. But I haven't had Green Spot in a long, long time, so I might have to revisit it.
Really, really good. And I mean, I've been drinking like a lot of like Bullet, so it's a lot less harsh than Bullet. Anyway, I win bet the 5 here pretty heavily, and I think I played a 4-5 into 5-11 double. So
nope, race is off. I bet the 7, and the 5 got the lead.
Easy.
Oh my goodness!
Just go all the way around. I love these rails out. Come on.
Where's my 7? Oh, 7 sitting third here.
Track wide.
Yeah, great. 3 wide, no cover. Love it. Just absolutely love it. Alexi Bedell. Is there any way my 8? Where the heck is my 8 at? Oh, he missed the break. He's all the way. Is that him all the way at the back? No.
Yeah, ask for a better trip than this. So. Go on with it. Come on. Keep going. Keep on going. Just keep going. Just keep going.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Right idea, just wrong freaking horse.
Look at this. Look at this.
Man,
that's easy.
There you go.
Easy game.
6-1.
Easy
and you got
game.
6-1, and it floated up to 6-1.
Of course
Look
it
at
did.
That.
Of course.
Goodness gracious. Who finished second? Was that the
Cheers to everyone watching the stream on that one. Come on.
Golly. He's saying he's gonna make Andrew's capper track score public. Hey, as long as my score is like just like a hair above his, I'll take it. I'll have to be very, very selective in what I post. But yeah, that's great, man. What you got 6-1 to win.
Yeah, so I had 20 to win, and I got I got a cheap double into 5-11 too.
Beautiful.
So, but
beautiful. I love it. Okay, hopefully I have the. Oh, you got 5:11 next race.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't love playing doubles, but I'm like, okay, like at least to me, it's like makes sense. Yeah. Or
Oh
like
my!
if you like two horses better than everyone else in there. But
What the f was Mr. Kingscoat doing there?
he's not playable at the moment.
Oh
Like
God.
there's just some jockeys that chip in and like don't get it. You know, like now that said, that was not the trip I thought Defy was going to get.
I mean that but the thing is like that. I mean that was the play. Like the play was that there was no speed in that race,
Yeah, I mean
and
that's,
he
but
just
I
took it.
was, yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. But I mean, I told you I thought the 4 was going to get the lead, and I have no idea where that horse was like the
Yeah.
entire trip. He actually got a no, he didn't get a rail ride. He was drifting outside, just never did anything. But
Yeah. I mean, it's rough. That's rough, but hey, good for you, man. That's a great start to the card.
happy
The
to hit one on a live stream. I don't think that's happened in a while,
Yeah.
right? Like that's
No, it always
we're
feels good.
makes the night.
Uh,
So there you go.
and like I mean like the same thing, right? Like, it's kind of like what we said about the 3, right? What did we say about the 3? Like the 3, I just wasn't going to get enough pace, I don't think, to run into. And like he made a little bit of a run, but by the time he got going, the race was over. You know, I think he clunked up for like 4th, right? But he had a full head of steam. Um, so yeah, there you go, man.
What ended up 5-2, I think.
Yeah, 5-2. All
Yeah,
right.
he kind of did. I don't know. It's tough betting closers in those Class 5 races. Like if you just get a lot of horses that don't know how to pass, and even like it's not like speed necessarily is going to be good, but speed's always pretty good in those Class 5 races. Just
Yeah. Give me a
you're in
second.
class.
I gotta shut my window because we have like a thunderstorm warning here, and like it's just blown. Wind is blowing like crazy. So let me get that closed before it breaks my window.
The stream cuts out, you'll know what happened. So
Oh man. Here we go. That's a good start.
easy game, right?
There you go.
Just
World Hero was 99% to be rail with rank equals 1. So,
there you go.
and Nick says he's got the Quinella.
Paid pretty well.
Where the heck did he get those horses from?
18-1.
There you go. Yeah, I see 17-1. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
sorry, I'm going off the.
Hey, people are making money. People are
Go.
making money out there.
Watch the stream.
I
Be
like,
alright.
although like when we were playing, I always say like when I play like 3-card poker with Gary and like he hit something big, dude. That's what I forgot because I think I was telling you about it, dude. I hit a royal flush on 3-card poker the first night we were there,
How,
and it pays like 250 to 1 or something,
can
or no, it paid what does it pay? Is it 50 to 1? It was a mini royal, yeah. It was insane.
can we discuss something for like a couple minutes, because as a person with 2 kids who is not able to like go anywhere a lot, I was living vicariously through you, like for your Vegas trip, right? And you texted me the first night all these pictures of you, like, I ran up this craps table,
Yep.
I'm playing Fortune X or whatever X machine
Yep.
video
That was like
poker,
the
and you're
second or
hitting
third day. Yep.
like 4 of a kind, you're hitting you're hitting a whole ton of stuff. And now you're telling me you hit a royal flush in 3-card poker, and I text you the next morning, or I send you a message the next morning, and I go, "Hey, you must have had a pretty good day. You finish up," and you go, "Nope." I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, what else were you playing? Like, you
Dude.
hit a royal, you hit a video poker, you were cashed out a ton in craps, and you finished down. Like, what did you do?
So what happened is Caleb showed up.
The first night. He didn't show up the first night, did he?
Oh no, the first night. So the first night I I was up about like $600 probably.
Yeah.
$500-600. The second night was I basically like was down.
Yeah, well, I know that, but
And
like
then
the
Mike
first night
showed
you
up,
said you were
and then
down.
yeah,
All right. So
and then Mike.
you weren't down the first night. All right,
No, the
you
first night I was up like five,
okay?
six hundred
All right,
bucks.
I got
The
nervous that
second
you
night,
blew $1,000 and like, all right,
no, the
like on
second night is
breakfast.
when I told you I was down. But then we played craps at night, and we ended up winning a bunch of money when Mike showed up. The third day when I was there was when Caleb showed up, and that's when I was texting you the Ultimate X stuff because I was waiting for Caleb, I think, at the time when I was playing that. And um, what happened is we then played craps and had a historically bad run of craps where I don't think anybody
And I
made
know
more than like
historically
two
bad
points.
runs.
Like it was crazy. There's Andrew Champagne in the chat saying what's up. See Grant in the chat saying he's in Hong Kong, not making a Sha Tin today, but he loves good in race 5. I also like good in race 5. Um, and then Keith Bush, yep, he's saying you were called out for picking chalk. Yes, that was me because you picked the 3 horse, Andrew. But in fairness to Andrew, I think he put out did I see fair odds? I think that horse was a no bet. So I think yeah, I think that horse was a no bet for him. So I don't think I think we can cut him a little slack there, but let's
I'm.
see.
This is like the old Fozzie
Yep.
Bear. He shows up and people start throwing tomatoes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Andrew.
Oh, he's asking if Andrew is one who UCSD being a tournament team. Oh man. All right.
Speaking of epically bad runs, my college basketball. If I ever give anyone college basketball betting advice, just don't listen. Anything I make at Hong Kong has been distributed back through the college basketball
Yeah.
betting landscape. So, anyway, back to racing.
Yeah. So, can we be real about race 7?
Sure.
This race had absolutely no interest to me. And it doesn't connect the pick 3. It doesn't there's nothing there for me, right? So I landed on the 1 Nimble Nimbus, and I just kind of assumed that this would be a horse that was going to take a bunch of money because, this is the class dropper. This is the horse that's been running okay in group races. I'm not saying that the horse has been like a world beater or anything, right? But he ran third, by 4.5 lengths to Romantic Warrior, a couple starts back, right? So this horse clearly has some ability, and I think Class 2 is probably the right area, the top of Class 2, maybe a couple class, maybe that in between Class 2 and Class 1. But other than that, I just kind of had no other desire to bet any of these other horses. I just I don't know, man. This race could go a million other ways. So but I thought this one was going to be really short. He's 8-1. He's definitely a bet at that price. I thought we were going to get 3-1, and I was like, no, I wasn't going to be interested that short. But I honestly was just shocked at the price here. But it looks like the 2 Sunlight Power is taking all the money. He's 7-5 right now. What are you kind of seeing here, Matt?
Yeah, this is a weird race. This is a lot of horses, oddly, that are used to running 2 turns that are backing down to a mile, and I don't understand how this race was carded. To me, it's every decent horse is saving itself for probably next week for Hong Kong Derby week. They're probably going to have a bunch of group races that day, and so every decent horse is probably slotted there, and this is what you get left with. Right? I didn't know where to go. I think I'll probably win bet to 3 Golden Scenery, if only because I think out of all of these horses, he has the best 1-turn races, right? But that's just kind of a guess, right? I think if I'm playing this race, and I probably will play this race because I think you get the right price on Golden Scenery, but yeah, it's a weird race, and it's not really interesting because it's a lot of horses that are doing something they seemingly don't want to do. If you can figure out what these horses do want to do, maybe I end up playing with a Quinello was the 6 Voyage Samurai, but I thought Voyage Samurai a second choice was probably just too short for me to want to play. So I'll probably just win bet Golden Scenery and be done. So
Yeah. Andrew thinks that this might have meltdown potential.
I
Um,
I have no idea, right? I mean, maybe,
mhm.
but I always you never know when it's like horses are kind of moving from two turn to one turn, right? You don't know how much of that speed is like draw dependent, right? Like horses trying to send to get position, especially like when you see them running 2,000 meters at Sha Tin, like that's very position based because the jockeys either have to send to get to that tight turn or they have to pull back. So I don't know. Pace in these races is like just one of those things that's incredibly hard for me to gauge. But
Well, yeah, because like I'm looking at the 9, right? Like Austin Fluke, who's showing a little bit of speed, right? In some of these one turn race in this one turn like last one turn race, and I mean, look at these fractions, like 25.14, I mean, we're
yeah,
usually looking at something in the 24s, right? So, I mean, he got forward, but it was just a slow pace. So I don't know, what kind of pace you're going to really get from him. I actually, now the more I look at the 6 Voyage Samurai, the more I kind of like him, just on the fact that like I'm like 90% sure this is the horse that's going to get the lead, right? I mean,
yeah.
at least he's gonna go. He's gonna be forward,
And at least he's been
right?
running a
Like,
mile, right? Like
yeah,
at least
and he's been running the
like,
mile. Yep.
and the rails are out. But I mean, again, that he's been losing to good horses. There's a lot there, but at do you want that horse at 3-1?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
race.
I do think. Yeah. I do think the one. I mean, at its current odds, it definitely shows value. Um, I mean, he's 8-1 right now. I mean, he's, like it's just he's kind of class tested, right? But I think he does have a win going this one turn mile, I believe, as well. So he has at least he's only run it 3 times. He's got a win. He's got a fourth, and then he's got another race in there, right? So he's shown some ability. So I don't know. I think Nimble Nimbus makes a bit of sense at if you get a fair price on him, which I think is probably 7, 8-1, somewhere around there. But um, yeah, I don't really want anything to do with the 2 who's like super short. I mean, he can win, but like luckily there's no pick 3 or anything here, so I don't have to like worry about horses that can win here. So I'd probably just bet the 1 and just kind of move on here.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be investing a lot of money in that race. But
Yep. But now we get to the pick 3, right? Where money is going to definitely be invested because we can't help ourselves. Um, and right now the in race 3, it looks like the 2 master champions actually been withdrawn. So, we only have 11 going here out of the 12, but this is kind of an interesting race because you got a couple other first time starters in here, um, and I did like the 4. Who's your favorite right now, um, but I mean this is a horse that just like doesn't like to win, and that kind of scares me a little bit. I mean, like maybe he's been a little snake bitten because I mean he went second by a shoulder, second by a head. Like, it's not like he finished second by half a length a bunch of times, right? Where like it's clear like he just like wants to run with his friends. Like this is a horse that was coming. So now gets kind of a worse draw. So maybe I'm a little, this is a horse I'm going to use. Maybe this is like a defensive use here, but I think the 4 makes a bunch of sense here. Honestly, the horse I'm kind of the most interested to bet is going to be this 7 Flying Ting Lok, whose first time here in Hong Kong. This is a horse that was running in Australia, running on the synthetic sprints, and ran very well, and ran well enough that after his second start, they decided, hey, we need to ship this horse over here to Hong Kong. We got to buy this guy. And so, right, has been laid up for about 9 months here. Getting ready, getting acclimated to Hong Kong, has been trialing very, very, very well. And yeah, I think this is one that's primed to run well here. Is getting a really really good draw, and gets Brittany Wong aboard. So I'm just assuming that this is going to be a horse that's going to show him some speed because at least in his trials it looked like he was up on the engine. So yeah, I like the 7 here. First time in Hong Kong, and then I'm gonna go with the 4. The 5 is the other kind of like first time starter here coming from Ireland, and he just hasn't been trialing all that well from what I read and what I saw. I don't know if you saw anything different, but yeah, I like the 7 in here and I like the 4. So I don't know, Matt, where do you kind of land here?
Hey, so I like the 7, same as you. I don't know. I never know what to do with horses first up here. But I mean, as far as the 5 goes, I thought he was just drawn too far out, right? And those trials weren't all that impressive to me to want to use. But crazier things have happened. I, I'm low in A in here. I think if Geneva runs his race, he should dust his field, right? Like realistically, if and you never know what you're going to get off a layoff or kind of what the excuses for the layoff, but right, like this horse has never missed a board in 6 starts at 1200. He's 2 for 2 specifically running at C plus 3 1200. So this is what this horse wants to do. He was moving forward again. I don't know. Maybe you could question, hey, like, is the move up to class 3 too much? Is this horse overrated? Is the layoff going to affect this horse? Maybe, but I do think that just based on this field, if you take, his best race versus everyone else's best race in here, Geneva should win. And I'm surprised this horse isn't favored, but maybe that's, kind of indicative to me that maybe this horse isn't at his best, right? Someone might know something that I don't. So TBD. I think because of that, when I saw that, I was like, okay, I need to use a couple other horses. I do want to get around Lifeline Express. I don't, want to use a horse that's 1 for 16 because I do think that horse has that case of seconditis, right? I think it's just a horse that, you know, for whatever reason, doesn't like to win, right? Hasn't won in almost a year now, and continues to kind of finish second. And the problem with doing that is you keep moving up weight, you still don't win. So, just one of those horses that I think is going to be overbet. Does maybe he win? Sure. If he wins, then I lose, and I'm willing to sacrifice that. But I just don't want to use that. The other horses that I will use, probably no surprise. I'll use the 3 module construction. He's coming off a layoff. This is the first up this season. TBD, right? I mean, he's gotten scratched a couple times. You've seen that, but I mean, who knows, right? I like horses off layoffs here. If I see a kind of a long layoff, probably auto bet because I think those horses always present value here, almost always, right? Hong Kong is a unique case where it's so insulated that those horses have to be, ready and fit to run. And if they aren't, they won't allow them to enter a race. And because of that, I think they are more stringent than even just, wanting to run, right? That horse almost has to be better than it was to be able to enter a race. And because of that, I think layoffs are something that, are a benefit here because those horses almost will have to show something better than they've done previously to be able to hit the race. So, yeah, I think, module construction's a use. I think Brittany Wong's a use just based off the trials and, the weight and the draw and everything. I think, again, she's riding well. So, that's something that, I went to. And then I also went to the 9 Low Pan Spirit as a B because, again, kind of go back to the draw lottery, right? You look, anytime I see a horse that kind of has lost the draw lottery so badly for so long, anytime you get a single digit draw when you haven't had a single digit draw for the last, what? Going back, he's had 13, 11, 13, 12, had a 5 draw and actually ran pretty well off of that 5 draw. Before that, 14, 10, 11. He's had one draw inside of 10 out of 8 races this year since September. Maybe, who knows what this horse can do, right? Who knows if this horse can actually run well or not because he has not gotten a pick, since. And not that the 9 draw is all that well, but there's a chance. So, again, I think most of my money will be through Geneva, but I do think all those other 3 options represent things that could pay well and things that will, probably hopefully connect in a pick three. Um, Even more so kind of than Geneva as my top pick in here. So
Yeah, and so lots of stuff in the chat here. Good stuff here. Grant saying 100% true about the layoffs in Hong Kong, especially with the trialing options they have here. So Keith is already saying you're locked in. You get the first race right, and you're just locked in here with the model. It seems like, and Andrew agrees with you on the three. Three's best is certainly good enough. Running third to Mugen in 23-24 is nothing to sneeze at. And Keith
definitely not
agrees.
current Mugen though, because current Mugen is pretty bad, but
Yeah.
former Mugen is something else. So
Yeah, and Keith Bush saying that modular construction is a very good pick. But bad news, Nick Seaver says Geneva was his best opinion on the night. Now, here's the thing, right? If Nick has got this, like, mush thing going on, and you got this, like, mush thing going on, like, do they cancel each other out? Is like a negative times a negative equals a positive?
we'll find out. I mean,
He already hit the
if we're still
Quinella race
streaming
one
it,
using your
yeah,
pick,
see,
right?
there you go. It doesn't work. It's like it's like the opposite hemisphere where it spins the other way, right? That's not east west. That's north south. But you get the general gist, right? The toilet flushes backwards.
There you go.
Coriolis effect, right?
Yeah, and then in the wait, am I looking at the wrong race? What race am I looking at here? Oh, yeah. So yeah, we have a couple minutes here before race 2. I'm actually just gonna make sure I get my pick 3 in here real quick. Oh man, I'm like super chalky here. What is going on here? This is like an Andrew tick. Oh no, it's not. I forgot. I like Sky Trust. Why did I not write him down? Oh, I did. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think you auto bet Sky Trust, right?
Yeah, I got an auto bet Sky Trust. That's a horse that owes me money. So
I thought you cashed on him.
I did cash on him, but then I kept betting him afterwards. So I think I might be at the point where he's approaching owing me money status here. But
Good horse.
he's a very good horse. I wonder if the weight's going to be a little too much for him, but we're gonna fire a little pick 3 here. But we got 6 minutes to post here, race 2. So before we get to the last 2 races of the card, let's take a look here again at race 2. Let's reevaluate where we're kind of at. The 6, my top pick, has come down a bit. I think he was like sitting at like 5 or 6 to 1, and I thought that was ridiculous. I think he's closer to a price I thought he was going to be. He's at 7 to 2. He's your second choice right now. Soaring Bronco is at 5 to 2 right now. I think you liked Soaring Bronco here a bit. What else did you like here, Matt?
I was on the 11 Chateau Lepeche. I think that's my value play. I'll probably play that each way and maybe play a Quinella like 11 with 5-6 and hope the 11 hits the board with one of those. You are getting 7 to 1 on the 5-6 Quinella, but I don't know. There's enough questions to me to not want to play that. So. But yeah, I think I'll play that, 11 with 5-6 in the Quinella and just play an each way bet in the 11 and kind of trust my double from race 1.
Who do we think gets the lead here?
You're asking a lot from me. Hold on.
The 14?
Can nobody get the lead? I think the Soaring Bronco might.
I honestly don't think, like, I know that this is just eating chalk, but I actually don't think the 5-6 Quinella is bad. Oh, never mind. It's only paying $7.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that's what I'm saying,
bad.
right?
That
like
is bad.
it's not good, right?
Never
Like
mind. Never mind. What's this?
Maybe Leathermaster, but gosh, Alexi Bedell has literally never hit the board in 44 races at 1600.
What about Jung?
He's over 44 on the place.
What about Jung? How's he doing?
Who?
Is that Matthew Jung?
Keith Jung?
Keith Jung. Yeah, Keith Jung. Sorry.
23 races, 2 wins, 2 places. So,
I mean, the 14's shown some speed.
He's 8% a mile, and normally he's a 6% chalk. So, take that as you will. Yeah,
You know what? I wonder what's his 12. Well, I'm gonna bet the 6. Like I know he's only 7-2, but
good luck with that,
I
Zenny.
mean, man, I hate when you say that kind of stuff.
No, it's fine. It's
Whatever.
he's look. It's
I fired.
he wins, I lose. That's fine. You know.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better.
I think at some point I've made a case for Mr. Good Vibes, but that's not a horse I want to bet.
I wanted to bet the 6 with somebody who's gonna get the lead, but I just feel like it's gonna be the 5. It's gonna be the 5 and the 6 like round. Oh, what do we got? Anyone in chat here?
Maybe you look for a horse that has to send. Who has to send?
Yeah,
Here?
I mean Keith thinks that Bronco gets the lead, so he thinks Leathermaster will be there. You know what? Let's try Leathermaster. Let's just try a little. Screw it. We'll try the 6 with the 2 low weights, 13 and 14. We're just gonna do a little bit. We're just gonna
Never bad.
splash a little $2. What are we looking at here? Yeah, they're paying 100 to 1 right now. So we'll just do $2, right? We're just gonna splash a little bit. See, maybe if one of these low weights, these cheap speeds, maybe one of them hangs on here. You know, Jenny loves the 6, dude. Jenny loves the 6. You know.
Stick with by 11. This is not a. It's not a great betting race. I'm light here. So.
Yeah. Damn it, Andrew likes the 6 too. Grant's just with me, right? He's like 13 gets the lead here, he thinks, and he likes that Zenny here. Toss the last effort. All right.
Good luck, everybody.
Look at hey, we can trade off, right? You get one, I get one, right?
I'm fine. I am absolutely fine handing out my mush to the people that you know. I hope everybody else hits, right? I'm playing the don't pass line here, you know.
Oh, you jackass. Dude, so we had one don't pass player, but he was like cheering for us the entire time. So I was like, I didn't even care, right? Like, cause I'm like we would roll, and he'd be like, oh, good roll, like whatever, like, cause I don't know, he was playing some weird thing where he was playing like the don't pass, and then he was like he was playing numbers too. So like I don't know what he was doing, but so he was like cheering when we won and stuff, and like he was just being quiet. He was collecting his chips when they hit, and Gary was just like typical New Yorker. That guy was playing don't. He was playing again. Like he was just like getting all mad. I mean, every time like I mean, we're playing cheap tables, right? So people are like buying in halfway, buying in when you're not supposed to and stuff like that. And he's like, oh my god, here we go. Here we go. Like we're like he's like no, he's like he wants to turn his bets off. He's just like losing his mind. So
it's like the people that are criticizing your blackjack play. Like, oh, if you didn't take that card from me, or you just took that card, it would have disrupted the deal. And it's like you don't remember the times where you won on that, do you? Like,
yeah, that's why I don't play blackjack.
Yeah,
But like I said, like honestly, dude, I had so much fun playing blackjack this trip. But the reason I had fun is because we basically took the entire table up, so it was fun then. But we played at New York. We played at New York after the hockey game, and we had a really once again we had a fun dealer, and the guy who was next to us was super chill. He was fun, and like I said, like when I was playing with the dealers, I would just be like, hey, like what's the book say here? Like if I didn't know, and they were like, oh yeah, you're supposed to stay, you're supposed to hit, whatever. So there was one time where I hit, and they were like, you sure you want to do that? I was like, no, I don't, and then I won the hand. So
and they earned a tip, right? So there you go.
All right, and they're off here. Let's see who does get the lead.
You're looking good. You're 14 as
14 and the 6.
Merry-go-round their way around here.
And is that the 13 and second or third? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's that out wide? What are you thinking out there?
Yeah, that's the problem with being drawn wide out here is like you either need to do stuff like that and press, or you need to try and pull back.
Matthew Chadwick.
Yeah, I said he's a good 1,000-meter jock. I didn't say he was good at a lot of other things. So
I mean, he got up there. He's finally now he's only 2 wide, but
It's kind of a slow pace. You might be sitting pretty on this 14, but
well, yeah, but now I need the 6.
my
And the
11 is
6 looks like
nowhere
he's
to be found.
this 6
But
kind of looks like he's like struggling a little bit. Like his head's moving a ton.
because that's
He's
he
not.
doesn't know how to ride a horse.
Don't do this to me.
We tip out. They flash the 11 here. Where is it? This is going to be the blanketest finish ever.
Come on. Come on. Come on. You
Get up.
garbage human
Get up.
being.
Get up. Get up.
513.
That's a
Oh my
double.
god.
That's a double hit.
I had the right idea once again, just the wrong freaking horse.
Yeah.
God bless it. What did that Quinella pay? Okay, that was only $26.
Yeah, I think the 5 went off favored. So
okay, I don't feel that bad.
no big loss there, but the double paid 6-5. Ooh,
Man,
it's all right.
6-5. That's it.
Well, no, the 6-5 is what Soaring Bronco went off at. I don't know what that double paid. That double paid 21-1.
So. Oh, there you go. There you go. Nice little start, and we're never gonna do another one of these live things again.
I love this. We can keep going all night.
you're like, can we just stay on the entire night? Like this is going great.
I'm gonna start cooking breakfast. Let's go.
Oh my god. Created a monster. Yeah, there's Keith. #math. I mean, yeah, like that was. Yeah, man, I'm just getting the wrong horses here.
But I mean, like that's a classic example of what happens, right? Like what I said, where like you find a horse that has to go, right? Mm-hmm. That 9 on paper, because he's breaking from the 13 post, has no business making a lead, right? That horse doesn't want to be on the lead. That horse has no natural speed, has never been close to a lead, but because you're wide, has to go. So disrupts the whole pace, fucks up the whole race for everybody, and you get an inherited win out of the favorite because Matthew Chadwick decided, hey, that's my best chance. So, like I said, you almost have to cap it of like not who's has speed, but who has to have speed, right? Like what are they viewing their chances as? So it's tough, right? But it's the game.
Nick Seaver saying it's 10:34. Who's going to sleep? Oh man, I'm gonna go to sleep. End this thing early. Well, we got 2 races still left. All right, race 9 here, the Cosmos handicap. Got 7 furlongs, 1,400 meters, Class 3 racing. Matt, where did you land here?
Yeah, so initially I landed on Juno Pride. I was like, Juno Pride has continuously moved forward. This horse has, kind of been climbing up the ranks. Has never done anything wrong. Should be pretty heavily backed, but it's probably too heavily backed for my taste. I do think he probably still wins, and I do think, even though you're probably getting even money, maybe that's right for this horse. You just don't know how good this horse is yet. That said, I did end up on a few other horses as Bs. I think I ended up on all the lightweights as Bs in here between, Victory Sky, who I think last out kind of moved forward a ton, right? Like kind of showed something off a month layoff that, moving out to 1,400 would maybe suggest, hey, maybe this horse wants to go a lot longer than it had been going, right? Like moved out from 1,200 to 14 and showed something new. So, okay, let's see what this horse can do. The 11, I'm not going to try to pronounce this, Bucephalus. Okay. Just on that 4th up angle. And again, kind of a horse that's moving forward, 4th up, right? I think is always, something that I'm going to play. And I think that horse fits this bill, right? Just kind of, again, a progressive horse, 4th up, has shown some speed, rails out, right? Draws poorly, but you just saw what Matthew Chadwick did with a poor draw. So he's going to send. And I think, at least in this field, maybe can clear, but might end up duking it out with the 12 Master of All, who I also used, who I think, again, is one of those progressive type horses. Again, low weight, better draw, has done really well at the course. So to me, would be a use, right? I think most likely this race goes through the favorite and the 5, but I do think he could make cases for the 10, the 11, and the 12 as Bs in here. And again, I think that's probably how I'll end up structuring my ticket, is just saying, okay, play 2 Bs and almost hope the Bs hit rather than the As, because I think if I hit all As and kind of the way I played it, it's not going to pay as well. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I saw it. So.
Yeah, I kind of saw this basically the same way as you. I'm going to use the 5 Juno Pride. He just looks like the horse that's pointed the right way, is drawn well. It seems to be moving forward in the right direction. So he's going to be short, but I'm going to use him. And then I'm going to use the low weight in here, the number 12 Master of All. I think he's he's had a bunch of really really nice races, and honestly, like, you know, he's drawn the best of the speeds. So I think that he's got a really really good chance of getting that rail and getting over pretty quickly, especially like I said, as the low weight and having the best draw of the kind of the speed horses here. So, yeah, and yeah, there just like wasn't, besides Juno Pride, there just wasn't a lot in here that I thought would be a problem really for the 12 Master of All to kind of deal with. So I'm gonna use both those equally here in my late pick 3. I'm gonna use the 5 and the 12. So we see this one pretty similarly. So that means you're probably wrong. But race 10, I mean, we talked about this a little bit, right? We got 1,400 meters. I am contractually obligated at this point, I believe, to bet Sky Trust. So I definitely have Sky Trust here as an A. I think this is a pretty consistent horse. He's very versatile, right? Like at 1,600 meters, he's fine sitting up front, getting the lead, and at 7 furlongs, on the cutback, he'll close in, 8 lengths off, 6 lengths off, whatever. Like, he's got a very versatile run style. And then, obviously you kind of put a line through that last race where he went, I think, just way, way too far for what he wants to do. So, coming back to, I think the distance that he wants to be at, where in 9 starts, he's got 2 wins, 4 seconds, 2/3, and a fourth, so, I mean, this is a horse that's missed the money, missed the trifecta once, and has been in the superfecta all of its starts at this distance and this track. So, yeah, I like Sky Trust here. I think Sky Jewelry, of the other horses in here, lightly raced horse, won at Happy Valley and then came here to Sha Tin and was able to close in and win a nice race, and is up in class here. And then as a B, I'm using Hong Lok Golf here. Just a horse that hasn't done anything wrong in its 3 starts, lightly raced horse, and yeah, I think that he is going to be. Yeah, I think he's definitely in here with a shot. I mean, like, it's a very very consistent horse that's only. That's not done anything wrong. My only kind of question mark is that this is the first time going the 7 furlongs. So, like, is he going to be able to carry that form into 7 furlongs? So that's really the only reason I made him a B. But honestly, I think I'm just going to use all 3 of those horses equally. So I'm using the 1, the 6, and the 7 here. Matt, how did you see this race?
Yeah, I thought the 6 and the 7 probably were just those progressive type horses where one of them does win, right? And again, that's, probably not the savviest bet, because I think those are probably your 2 favorites. I think everyone kind of sees it that way. I do think those horses tend to be overbet a little bit, but I also think, if you have 2 horses kind of in a very similar situation, one of them is probably the goods, right? And so those will be my 2 A's. I like Beauty Crescent a bit. I thought, again, just kind of based on draws and kind of drawn back in better now, that horse has some races that fit. Again, it's kind of one of those horses that clearly doesn't like winning. He's over 27 lifetime with 13 places. So maybe you don't play this horse on the win line because horses with second-itis here aren't the play usually. And so, maybe a horse that you try and key underneath, right? Like if you want to play an exacta here, maybe you just play that 3 in second and, maybe it overpays. I don't know if people are going to kind of slot that out that way where they would key it that way. I don't think the exactas here are all that well, kind of modeled like that. But yeah, I mean, I think has some ability, but also, I mean, again, the horse is over 27. So I don't know what value you get. The only other horse that I want to use, and again, I've wanted to use this horse for so long that I feel obligated to use it, is King Miles. And I've talked about King Miles, about how continuously I'm like, this horse has lost a draw lottery, right? Even the one time this horse has slotted into a decent, draw, kind of for whatever reason got mega sent and, kind of finished out the back in a race course that wasn't planned to doing that, right? And if you look otherwise, right, again, look at the draws this horse has gotten throughout kind of the course of this season. 14, 12, 13, 12, 2, which we talked about, 9, 11. Now he draws 8. 8 isn't all that great, but it's better than all of those draws that he's gotten. And so, I don't know. I do think everyone else saw it the same way I did, because this horse is 9-1. And I think everybody else has been sitting on this horse waiting for him to get a good draw like I have. But I think he's at least a use. So I'll probably be 6-7 and use King Miles in the 8 as a B. I probably won't use Beauty Crescent just based on the current price, based on the fact that horse hasn't won in 27 tries. So I think I posted Beauty Crescent initially on the ticket that I posted on Twitter, but I think I backed off that, kind of seeing the win record. So.
All right. Anything else you want to add on this card?
No, not immediately, right? I mean, again, I think this card isn't one that I'm overly, ambitious about, right? I think I'm happy to have hit the first 2 races. I think those were probably my, not my more confident plays, because I said they were bad Class 5 races, but I hit them both. So
there you go.
But I do think this card is one of those that's like a more middling card for before next week, where you get some really good horses kind of coming back from the Hong Kong Derby. So something to look forward to for next week. But hey, happy to be up so far tonight, and hopefully we continue that. So.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on You've Got to Be Sha Tin Me. Check us out on ontherwronglead.com, @wrong_lead on Twitter. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Matt is @slow and steadied. I am @cherry_drank. Yeah, we'll try and do this a little bit. Like I said, at least the times that we get these Friday night cards, and yeah, have a little bit fun with it. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Way more people watched than I thought would, because I thought that number was going to be 0. So shout out to you guys. Hopefully it makes some money, other than Matt, because Matt's already made all the money he needs for tonight. So
I gave you all the winners, just 10 straight races. So good luck,
all right. See you guys.